Franklin Regional Senior High School was immediately put on lockdown right as this incident was happening, with parents slowly now being reunited with their children as they show up to campus. So joining me now to talk about this from Long Island via Skype is Carolyn Wolf. She's a campus consultant on mental health and safety issues. Also on the phone is Molly Bourne. She's a reporter at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Molly, your report was one of the first to come from that scene right now. Tell me what's going on at that high school now.
Sure. Well, I'm sitting outside the high school now, well, not directly outside, but sort of at the bottom of the hill. There are school buses still lined up here. I can't see too well at the top. I believe most of the emergency vehicles have left. It's a little calm at the moment. There are a few students that have been walking by. I've talked to a couple of them, some parents walking by as well, but significantly less chaotic scene than it was this morning, no doubt.
We heard from one student just a moment ago who said he saw blood on the floor there. I don't know how quickly you did arrive at the high school, but as far as you have you seen any children in distress? Do they all seem okay at this point to you?
I arrived, I'm not sure what time exactly, but I didn't see any kids in distress or any kids coming out. I think they had been moved to the middle school at that point. Certainly there are a lot of students who are still shaken up a bit. I've talked to several students who have friends that are among those injured. They're just hoping to get some information from them as the day goes on.
And quickly, any sense from these students you've talked to about the suspect?
We know the suspect is 16 years old. He is in police custody. He did suffer some injuries to his hands. I believe they were minor injuries, and is being treated for those. I believe he's also a sophomore. We don't know a whole lot more at this point. It's still early, but police are investigating and looking at all the angles, I'm sure.
So, Carolyn, the parents are now being reunited with many of these students, probably many of these parents at work now, leaving work when they found out about this incident to find their sons and daughters at this high school. What do you tell parents at a time like this?
You know, you reassure them. You say, we're doing everything we can to make sure the students are safe now. We have safety plans in place. It was activated. People did what they were supposed to do. We certainly will do a comprehensive follow-up as the crisis winds down, look into what our systems were, what happened. Maybe we could have identified the potential for this earlier on, but it's really just to reassure parents.
We're told by some officials there that some of the systems they had in place worked very well. It was the school principal, along, we understand, with the school resource officer who did subdue the suspect. We're hoping that all of those injured do recover. Hospital officials tell us that's what they're hopeful for also. But there were some procedures, I think, that will be questioned at some point, including we learned that there was no metal detector at this school. Clearly a metal detector might have detected those knives before they went in the door there.
Well, I think every school needs a safety plan, obviously, but once again, we're in a situation where we're being reactive, we're responding to a crisis. A lot of what we talk about in my mental health law practice about safety is you want to be proactive, you want to be preventive, you want to look at what's going on in your environment with your students. We recommend threat assessment teams be set up in the high schools and lower grades, as we've done on college campuses, particularly after Virginia Tech. You want to be preventive and proactive because then you can be as opposed to always being in crisis mode. Likely, if you look back at who the student is and what was going on with him, you likely could have identified red flag behaviors. And had you had a system set up to intervene earlier on, or take some sort of preventive action, this might have been prevented.
And Carolyn, quickly, the time this happened, before 7:15 a.m., seems like a very vulnerable time at any school. It's when children are arriving. It's when the teachers are arriving. It's a time of flux and chaos.
That's correct, and you have a lot going on. And again, that's not the time you want to start to think about your safety systems. You want to think about it before it even happens. Imagine it will happen. I mean, look what we've seen across the country. And when we go back and review these, there were red flags. We could have set up systems, and many of them may have been able to be prevented.
Right. You do have to plan. A lot of us would not like to imagine this happening, though. I do understand, though, the need to be ready for this type of thing. Carolyn Reineck, Wolf, Molly Bourne, thanks so much for joining right now. There are a lot of questions about this incident. It raises a lot.